You woke up with a terrible headache. A sigh escaped your lips as last night's events replayed in your mind. You sat upright and pressed your fingertips on your temples, which felt like bursting at a moment. Your eyes shifted to Lily, who snuggled in your warmth. A smile appeared on your lips due to the adorable sight. She looked exceptionally cute while sleeping with a pout, an exact replica of her father. You carefully took her in your arms and patted her back. She made a whiny sound before nestling in your arms. Your smile widened when she clutched your cotton nightshirt in her palm. You gazed at her with hurt in your eyes. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't bear separation from you, you whispered. The next moment your smile dropped as a thought struck your head like a bullet train. You had been with Lily for 8 months, and the thought of going away from her itself made you restless. What Mina must have felt. She had nurtured her in her womb for 9 months, and when the wait got over, destiny played with their fate. She must have many dreams about motherhood, but Almighty snatched the chance from her to live through them. You gulped the lump formed in your throat and gazed down at Lily, who was having her best sleep in your arms. Your mother did not deserve it. She deserved to live a longer life with you and your father. Tears pooled in your eyes as another realization dawned upon you. You imagine yourself at Jungkook's place. Your loved one passed away. You were clutched in shackles of grief, but you couldn't show your pain because you had a little girl crying in your arms. Y- You had still not got over the sight of your lifeless lover, and suddenly your parents came with an alliance. You denied, you shouted, you requested, but they put a question mark on your daughter's future. They said she needs a mother. They tagged your shelves because in your grief, your daughter was being a scapegoat. For the sake of your daughter, you had to agree reluctantly. Now you had responsibilities towards your new partner. You had to suppress your pain and pretend like you were fine. You forced yourself to smile. For your daughter, for your family. It's painful. A lone tear slipped down your eyes as you felt your chest tightening at the mere thought of losing Jungkook someday. Your heart was at the verge of popping out of your chest just by imagining yourself at his place. His pain was much more intense. He was suffering in silence, with nobody to give him a shoulder to cry upon. It must be very hard for him. He can't love himself at this point, and I was expecting him to love me. He doesn't need a wife but a partner who can share his pain. You wiped your tears, a renewed determination ignited within. I will help him find his happiness again. I will support your father. You whispered and planted a gentle kiss on Lily's forehead. We will be with him at every step. We will give him strength to move on from his pain. Entering inside his room, you were welcomed by the sight of him fixing his tie in front of the mirror. You cleared your throat to gain his attention. He turned around, facing you. You felt a pang in your heart when you observed his teeth, red swollen eyes with dark circles underneath them and pale face. He looked broken and vulnerable. Today there was no mask on his emotions, neither his eyes were blank, hiding away his sentiments. Instead, he stood there unmasked in his miserable state. His eyes reflected his pain. His face, for the first time, showed the tint of grief of losing his loved one. You want to say something? His hoarse voice came out as a mere whisper, but you heard it amidst the thick silence. You gulped and nodded your head. I want to apologize. He frowned and awaited you to speak further. It was my idea of celebrating Lily's birthday, knowing it was also her mother's first death anniversary. I'm sorry, Jungkook. I shouldn't have pestered you. Sorry for hurting you unknowingly. You murmured and looked down. He walked over to you, stopping at a good distance. You don't need to apologize. Your intentions were not wrong. You wanted to make it memorable for Lily. It's okay, Wyan. You didn't hurt me. It's me who is doing it to you. He murmured the last sentence to himself. Still, You trailed off and looked up. That's when you noticed his attire. He wore a blue shirt, pairing it with black trousers and black blazer. Blue? Are you going to visit Mina? You asked hesitantly. He sighed and nodded his head. Can I accompany you? I mean, Lily and I both. By the look on his face, you could tell he was surprised. He contemplated for a few seconds before giving an approving nod. Okay, I'll get ready really quick and make Lily ready as well. I won't take long. You smiled and ran out of the room. Looked at the door where you disappeared for a few moments and went back to get ready. You placed the tulips on Mina's grave and settled down beside it with Lily on your lap. Jungkook placed roses and took a seat across you. Lily, place these flowers here. She stubbornly shook her head, playing with the yellow roses, which seemed to catch her attention the moment she noticed them in flower shop. Please, don't you want to greet your mama? Give her the flowers you brought for her. She gazed at your face and then put the roses where you had kept the tulips. A small smile twisted on Jungkook's lips due to it. Now make a finger hurt for your mama. She instantly worked on your command and made a finger hurt. Showed her face because she was too innocent and confused about how to make finger hurt. You smiled when she conveyed the asked affection towards you. You smiled and pecked her tiny face. Thank you, my sweetheart, but show your finger hurt to your mama. She's there. Come on, she's waiting. You pointed at Mina's grave. Lily glanced at the grave and looked back at you. Mama, she pointed at you, indirectly telling that you were his mother. Yes, I am. But she is also your mama. Now do it, my little girl, or she will be sad. Lily, being a sweet soul, instantly shifted her fist or finger hurt towards Mina's grave. Tears pooled in Jungkook's eyes as his smile widened due to her action. You smiled and planted a kiss on her head. Noticed the sullen look on Jungkook's face and decided to give him some alone time with Mina. We will wait for you in car. You stated and got up, holding Lily in your arms. He nodded, his gaze stuck at her grave. You walked towards the car, leaving him there. I hope you are doing fine up there, whispered as tears streamed down his eyes. He placed his hand on her grave and kissed it slightly as if he was searching for her warmth. Take it away. Please take this pain away. He sobbed and kept his head on the cold concrete surface. I can't. I can't do this anymore. It is suffocating. It is really painful to suffer alone. I can't even share my pain with anyone. I feel lonely. Tears left from the corner of his eyes and trailed down his cheek, falling on her grave beneath. He closed his eyes, drowning himself in her memories. A gust of cold wind brushed past him. Soft strokes on his hair made him open his eyes. He noticed a familiar person through his blurry vision, rubbed his eyes to clear his vision, and looked at the figure sitting in front of him. Mina, he jolted up and sat straight. She smiled at him. Mina, you are you really here? He couldn't believe his eyes. She shook her head in negation. I'm your dream, Jungkook. I'm not real. She replied, a gentle smile edged across his face. Why? Why did you leave me? You are a cheat. He complained like a child. We can't go against destiny, Jungkook. It was our fate. Maybe we were destined to be together for a certain period of time. She responded. Her voice seemed distant, far away from his reach. But why us? Our life could be different. Lily, you and I could be a happy family and Ryan. She wouldn't have to suffer between us. Everything happens for a reason. As I said earlier, we can't go against what has already decided for us. All we can do is embrace the reality and move on. I'm gone, Jungkook. Accept it and move on. It hurts me to see you like this. She cupped his one cheek, her touch cold against his warm skin. I can't. I can never forget you. He shook his head as more tears rolled down his cheek. You can. And who said moving on means forgetting a person? Moving on means overcoming the pain and grief. It means accepting what we have lost and cherishing what we have in present. He understood her insinuation. It's not easy, Meena. I know. I know it's difficult, but it is not impossible. It takes times and efforts. You are not even trying to accept the truth. Deep down, you know I could never come back, but you are not accepting it. He peered at her, absorbing her each word. Try to open up to Wine. At the same time, try to understand her too. I believe she will shoo away all your pain. She will give you happiness. I'm glad you have found someone like her, and I'll be more happy when you will be happy with her. Just like mom, dad, Lily, and I, you need to give her own space in your heart. She's such a sweet soul. Make sure you reciprocate back her affection. She smiled and reached in her handbag. You are leaving again? I have to, and you should leave too. Vine and Lily are waiting for you. Also, stop overworking yourself and give some time to her family. Remember, Jungkook, you have to work to build your relationship with Vine. A very bright and delightful future is awaiting you, Jungkook. Let go of your sorrows. It's time you to be happy again. Jungkook wiped his tears and smiled at her. Promise me you will always be with me. I'm always with you. Whenever you need me, just close your eyes and invoke me with a smile. I'll appear in front of you. He looked up when she got up and stepped back. She waved at him. Bye, it's time to leave. He didn't stop her. This time, he waved back at her with a smile. I love you. I'll always love you, he whispered as he watched her slowly disappearing in the air. Thank you, my love, for showing me a direction. He mumbled and pushed himself off the ground. Dusting his clothes, he walked towards his car, where his little family was patiently waiting for him. As Jungkook hopped on the driver's seat, you silently observed him. His wet eyelashes and tear-stained cheeks insinuated his state of mind. You so wanted to ask him about his well-being, but you were nervous about his response to your caring gestures. Are you okay, Jungkook? You asked before you could stop yourself. He looked at you and his next move caught you by surprise when he smiled at you. Will you hear if I tell what I am feeling? You blinked your eyes, processing his words, and slowly nodded. I'm feeling light, but still the pain of losing her still lingering inside my heart. I'm not sad, but I'm not happy either. Your heart filled with pity when he expressed his feelings with ease, though small, but he indirectly took a step towards you by being honest with his sentiments. It's not easy to forget the pain, Jungkook. In fact, it always resides in our hearts. We learn to live with it. And who could know it better than me who lost her parents? Time will heal everything. Leave everything on Almighty and go with the flow. You smiled and he didn't hesitate to return it. He started the engine and it roared to life. You frowned when he turned the car in opposite direction from home. Where are we going? Our home is on opposite side. I know, we are going for an ice cream. He replied and glanced back at Lily, who was secured in her baby seat. Lily, you want some ice cream? Lily's eyes lit up. She shifted her attention from her monkey plushie to her father and grinned. She clapped her hands excitedly, giving her approval. He chuckled, seeing her being all animated at the mention of ice cream. Lily, come here. You have become very naughty. You chased her as she crawled around the room, squealing and giggling, being playful. Here, got you little devil. She shrieked and burst into heaps of laughter when you caught her. It's been a week since Jungkook opened up to you for the first time. Things have changed and still changing. He doesn't avoid you anymore. In fact, he speaks what he feels. You are trying your level best to provide him the comfort he seeks for. No more mischief. I'm gonna change your clothes and we will go to bed right after. laid her down on the bed and changed her clothes. She, being the most energetic child, kept wiggling and dancing. Though with great difficulty, you somehow managed to change her clothes. Time to sleep. You adjusted her in the middle of the bed and secured pillows on one side. You were about to climb beside her, but a knock on the door interrupted you. Don't move around, okay? Instructing the little packet of mischief, you walked towards the door and opened it. Jungkook, you whispered in astonishment. He smiled slightly, looking at you. Hey, if you don't mind, can I sleep here? I feel alone, he whispered. You opened the door wider and stepped aside, giving him the space to enter. Thank you, he mumbled and stepped inside. He closed the door and turned around to watch Lily getting all excited seeing her father. He was no less, as he settled beside her and showered her with cuddle and kisses. You sleep here, I'll take the couch. You walked towards the bed and took a pillow. As you take a step towards the couch, he grabbed your wrist. You halted and turned around, darting a questionable gaze at him. Sleep here, the bed is big enough for us. And if you are uncomfortable sharing the bed, I'll take the couch. He stood up in an attempt to walk towards the couch. Lily, completely unbothered of her surroundings, got engaged in cuddling with her monkey plushie. It's not about me, Jungkook, it's about you. Are you comfortable? He halted hearing your smile. I am. You can never make me uncomfortable, Wine. In fact, you are my comfort person. Your heart flattered due to his honest confession. Be honest. You are not doing it out of guilt, or you are not forcing yourself. No, I'm willingly doing it. I really want our relationship to work. Everything can't stay like this forever, right? You, me, and Lily. I have to move on from the pain, not only for my family's happiness but for me as well. You didn't say anything further and lay down beside Lily. Jungkook lay beside her on the other side. As soon as you slept beside her, she threw away her soft toy and snuggled in your arms. Patted her back and in no time she fell asleep. Good night, Wyan, Imama tilting his head towards you. Good night, you whispered lazily as you were on the verge of dozing off. Your sleep was disturbed by someone's heavy breathing. Slowly open your eyes and glanced beside your side. Jungkook sat there holding his head. He was trembling and breathing heavily. You jolted up from your spot and rushed to his side. Jungkook, are you okay? You asked, concern reflecting in your eyes. He looked up at you and tried so hard to form a word but couldn't because he was having difficulty in breathing. You cradled his face in your palms and stared directly at his eyes. Follow me. Focus on your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. You practiced breathing and he followed your instructions. Repeating the exercise, his breathing stabilized. You grabbed the water bottle from the nightstand and handed it to him. He took a few sips before placing it aside. Nightmare? You asked in an undertone, careful to not wake Lily up. He nodded and looked at you. Can I hug you? He hesitantly asked. You blinked in surprise, nonetheless, sat beside him and opened your arms, inviting him in your comforting embrace. He wrapped his arms around you and buried his face in the crook of your neck. His hands twisted your shirt from behind. Your hands reached out to stroke his head. I'm scared. I already lost Mina. I can't lose you or Lily. Whispered against your skin and tightened his grip. You won't lose anyone anymore. Relax. You mumbled as you could feel his heart thumping against his chest. Sleep. You parted away from the hug and laid him down on the mattress. Relax, Jungkook. See, Lily and I both are here. Sleep. You reassured when he didn't move his gaze away from your face. Reaching out for his head, you glided your fingers through his hair. He clutched your free hand between his and kept it close to his heart. Your kiss worked as soothing balm on his wounds and he slipped into his dreamland after he fell asleep. You tried to retreat your hand, but his grip was strong. You somehow managed to free yourself and walk to your side of bed. You stared at the pristine white ceiling, thinking about his vulnerable state. He was slowly unraveling his tough exterior, letting you see his hidden sentiments. You knew he needed you the most at the time. He needed you to reassure him that he wasn't alone. He had you at every step. Jungkook and you were en route to your college where you worked as a professor. This was yet another thing he had added in his routine. A comfortable silence settled in between as you both were lost in your own reverie. You were thinking about last night's event. You couldn't shrug off the sight of his trembling state, while you was thinking about how you comforted him. Jungkook, you commenced breaking the serene silence. He hummed and glanced at you. How long have you been getting those nightmares? You probed with hesitation as you were unsure of his response. He sighed and stared at the road ahead. Almost a year now, he whispered. I feel like I will lose everyone. I just can't shake off this feeling. He mumbled. You stared at his side profile, pondering over your next words. This is not normal. I think you should seek help from a professional. You should go for a therapy. You suggested, and his gaze shifted at you. Only if you are comfortable. You don't have to do it because I said so. You added, maintaining eye contact with him. I don't know. I need time to think about it. He let out yet another sigh and averted his gaze back at the road. There is no rush. Healing takes time. Take your time to get over the pain. I'm with you. You smiled at him. Something melted in his heart with your reply. You glanced at your wristwatch, getting restless with each passing second. It's been an hour since Jungkook went for his first therapy and you were getting anxious with time. He booked an appointment with a psychologist after your suggestion. He was nervous. Sensing his anxiousness, you offered to accompany him. Thus, you ended up here outside the psychologist's office. You glanced outside through the glass window and straightened up, seeing Jungkook walking in the direction of the car. He hopped on the passenger seat. You stared at him, trying to comprehend what was going inside his head. He looked troubled, perhaps because it is not easy to face your pain and fears, especially when you have to vocalize it in front of someone. However, venting out is much better than bolting up. You started the car engine and drove in the direction of beach, glancing at him time and again. He kept his head on the window and stayed outside. The gentle breeze kissed his skin. His hair waved along with it. You both sat beside each other staring at the sunset. You know you don't have to hide your emotions from me. We are in this together. He redirected his gaze at you. A lone tear slipped from his eyes. Let your emotions flow. Don't bottle them up. Cry, Jungkook. I'm here to hold you. He sobbed and shifted closer to you. Wrapping his arms around you, he hugged you. You embraced him, letting him cry on your shoulder. I can't forget her. You don't have to. You have to learn to honor your love. That whenever you remember her, you do it with a smile, not with tears in your eyes and grief in your heart. She's always with you, in your memories, in your heart. You whispered as you rubbed his back. He wept like never before, his pain flowing in the form of tears. Unlike other times, this time he had you listening to him, holding him as he felt like losing himself. That's what pure love means. It's not about butterflies or seeing rainbows. It's about sharing the happiness and pain. It's about walking hand in hand through the pathways of life. And when someone stumbles, then holding him or her. It's not about fulfilling one's part, it's about completing each other. It's not 50-50, but 100-100. However, when one falls weak, other comes forward to hope for his or her help. It's about growing together, healing together. That's not fair. You said you would let me win this time. You scolded and threw the controller on the couch. He shrugged nonchalantly. I gave you many chances to win, but what can I do when you can't win a simple game against me? You need a lot of practice, dear wife. He teased with a bashful smile. You scoffed in disbelief. Lily, see your dad is saying I don't know how to play. You smirked as you decided to use your strongest weapon. Lily, who was immersed in her toy world, looked up and crawled in your direction. You smiled proudly as she crawled in your direction, but your smile dropped when she dozed you and went to Jungkook. She settled on his lap and clapped her hands. Your jaw dropped to the floor. You traitor, you exclaimed and narrowed your eyes at her. She giggled and hid her face in Jungkook's chest. A loud, hearty laughter resonated from his chest, seeing your expressions. He fell back on the beanbag and laughed. Your eyes sparkled and heart swelled with glee, observing his heartfelt and unhesitant laughter. 6 months of therapy and your support did work like magic. He was slowly going back to his old self, and you were the happiest about it. Don't scare my princess, he spoke between his laughter. However, his laughter slowly died down as he noticed your and Lily's gaze on him. What? Why are you both looking at me like this? Lily giggled and jumped on him, hugging him by his neck. He embraced her with his one arm and opened his other arm for you to join. You gladly joined them. Family hug was a normal affair nowadays. He would embrace you and Lily anytime, saying it provided him tranquility and peace. Time to bed, you announced, breaking the hug and retired to bathroom. Jungkook strolled towards the bed holding Lily. He laid her in the middle of the bed and occupied his space. After a few minutes, you came out of the bathroom and hopped on the other side. Jungkook turned towards your side. His hand reached out to waist as he pulled you closer. Lily squealed, sandwiching between you and Jungkook. Good night, ladies. He placed a long peck on Lily's forehead, but his next move took you by surprise when he leaned towards you and placed a chapstick kiss on your forehead. Good night, sleep well. He mumbled and stared directly at your eyes. You couldn't decipher what his eyes reflected, but it was something beautiful. Lily was fast asleep, clinging to your side while you and Jungkook were staring at each other, chasing your own dreamland. Your eyes dropped with drowsiness and you slowly let sleep consume your senses. But before closing your eyes, you felt another kiss on your head and his faint words reached your ears. I love you, Ryan. Finally, he found the name of his sentiments. His emotions rolled off his tongue. But to his bad luck, you were already asleep. He chuckled and bobbed your nose with his. You are indeed the best person. I don't know if I could ever be able to smile if it wasn't you. It's true, Meena will always remain in my heart, but you're not a replacement. You are you, my wife, my hope, my reality, my best friend, my second chance to life and love. Though it is second, but it is equally sincere and pure. Thank you for coming in my life and not giving up on me. Though his confession remained unheard by you, but the air in the surroundings heard it. The moon witnessed him saying it. The stars twinkled with utter joy. The trees danced along with the wind. Above all, there was an angel staring at the little family from above. May God bless this little family. She smiled, giving blessings to the family she was a part of. She would always be a part of them. She resides in Jungkook's heart, Lily's blood, and your prayers. It's hard to wait for something you know might not happen, but it's even harder to give up when you know it's everything you want.